Hello, it's Saturday the 15th of October. You're tuned in to our 6 p.m. newscast coming to you from Arirang's news centre in Seoul. It's great to have you with us today. I'm Mark Broom. Our top story this evening, the top military officials of South Korea, the United States and Japan have vowed to firmly respond to further nuclear and missile provocations by North Korea. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said Saturday that the JCS chairman of the three countries met in Washington on Friday local time. It says General Lee Sun-jin, U.S. General Joseph Dunford and their Japanese counterpart held in-depth discussions on North Korea's September 9th nuclear test and the regime's long-range missile launches. They said Pyongyang should refrain from provocations that aggravate tensions and instead focus on fulfilling its international obligations and commitments. The US also reaffirmed its ironclad commitment to defend both South Korea and Japan. A U.S. nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, the USS Ronald Reagan, is in South Korea this weekend for a joint naval exercise. Let's hear from one of the U.S. admirals leading the drill.
And we're all here on the Korean Peninsula, in the West Sea and in the East Sea, as part of Exercise Invincible Spirit, working with our ROK Navy counterparts and also in a joint and combined environment. So we have Army and Air Force assets and also other ROK assets working with us as well.
The Ronald Reagan strike group includes 4 other missile cruisers and destroyers. The drills are aimed at training for preemptive strikes on North Korea's military leadership if signs of a nuclear attack are detected.
South Korea and the United States will be well prepared for North Korea's possible provocations through this kind of operational cooperation and by enhancing joint operational capability.
The Ronald Reagan strike group is expected to reach the southern port city of Busan on Sunday after the 6-day Invincible Spirit maritime maneuvers end on this Saturday. Now, South Korea and the United States are monitoring North Korea for signs of another provocation. Experts have identified some key dates on which Pyongyang could conduct a nuclear test or launch a long-range missile. Kim Hyun-bin with the details.
Experts have identified the month of December as a possible hotspot for further North Korean provocations, given the amount of key dates and anniversaries. December 17th marks the 5th-year anniversary of the death of former leader Kim Jong-il, and the 30th is the 5th anniversary of Kim Jong-un taking power. North Korean watchers say the regime could conduct another nuclear test or launch a long-range missile on or around those dates. South Korea's defense ministry has been warning that Pyongyang is ready to conduct those kind of provocations at very short notice. This year alone, North Korea has carried out provocations on significant dates for the regime. North Korea conducted its 4th nuclear test on January 6, just 2 days before Kim Jong-un's birthday. Around late leader Kim Jong-il's birthday in February, North Korea launched an intercontinental ballistic missile. And then on September 9th, the 68th anniversary of the founding of North Korea, it conducted its 5th and most recent nuclear test. Some experts have flagged the U.S. presidential election set for November 8th as a trigger for North Korea to carry out another provocation. They say it would be aimed at showing the next administration in Washington that Pyongyang has the nuclear and missile capabilities to threaten the continental United States. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News.
Now, South Korea's Coast Guard has seized 2 Chinese boats fishing illegally in Korean waters. The Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries says the boats were caught in the early hours of Saturday morning near Huksan-do Island in the West Sea. The boats were authorized to fish in Korea's exclusive economic zone, but they had well exceeded their catch limit. Officials say iron spikes were attached to the boats to make it more difficult for the Coast Guard to board the vessels. The crews are currently being questioned and may be required to pay a fine. The Korean government has strengthened measures against illegal fishing after another Chinese boat rammed into and sank a Korean Coast Guard speedboat earlier this month. The head of the U.S. Federal Reserve has admitted that a high-pressure policy may be needed for a full recovery from the 2008 financial crisis. Speaking in Boston on Friday, Janet Yellen laid out the Fed's deepening concern that U.S. economic potential is slipping and aggressive steps may be needed to rebuild it. She warned that the ongoing problems with depressed output and sidelined workers may force economists to think about the economy in new ways. Yellen did not address interest rates directly. A number of analysts believe Yellen's remarks could be seen as adding another reason for holding off raising rates in December. Now, staying in the United States, but turning to the latest in the race for the White House, Donald Trump, the Republican candidate, says he's the victim of one of the greatest political smear campaigns in the history of the United States. Trump was addressing supporters in North Carolina on Friday after 2 more women accused him of sexual assault. He said the allegations were 100% false and driven by fame, money, or politics. Now, 2 new accusations came from an ex-apprentice contestant who claims Trump groped and kissed her in 2007, and a woman who described a case from the early 1990s. The latest Real Clear Politics average of all the polls has Hillary Clinton with an almost 7-point lead over Trump, 48.1% to 48.1% to 41.4%. The United States has issued an emergency order banning passengers from bringing Samsung's Galaxy Note 7 on flights in response to reports of the smartphones catching fire. The U.S. Transportation Department's order goes into effect Saturday at noon Eastern Time. It says the phone may not be carried on board or packed in checked bags on flights to and from the United States or within the country. The phones also can't be shipped as air cargo. Passengers who attempt to travel with the phones will have the devices confiscated and may face fines. Samsung says it's encouraging airlines around the world to issue similar orders directly to their passengers. Samsung recalled more than 2.5 million of the smartphones and discontinued the product earlier this week. Now, very overweight people tend to feel hungry more quickly after eating than people of average weight. That's because they are less sensitive to the hormone that tells the stomach they are full. But now, researchers have identified a way to restore sensitivity to the hormone by suppressing a specific gene. Lee Min-young has the details.
This woman who has recently gained weight starts feeling hungry again shortly after a big meal. Researchers say that's because people who are overweight tend to have a lower sensitivity to satiety compared to those of regular weight. Normally, when a person eats a lot, the body produces the satiety hormone leptin, which inhibits appetite. This prompts the brain to tell the body you're full. Obese people, however, do not respond to leptin signals, which results in constant hunger.
Obese people do not feel full, resulting in greater consumption and excess calories that aggravate obesity.
In a related discovery, an American research team has found that suppression of the RAP1 gene in the brain could potentially end the vicious cycle. Mice that were genetically engineered to lack the gene responded well to leptin and lost weight. The scientists believe the new mechanism could represent a potential therapeutic target for treating human obesity in the future. Lee Min-young, Arirang News.
Now, Korea has adopted a rescue drone system to locate people who get lost while they are hiking in the mountains or forest. Our Park Se-young has the details.
Korea has introduced a new system that uses drones to find and rescue people who have lost their way in the mountains. After receiving an emergency call, a drone scans the forest and flies over to the target area. There, the drone looks for biological signals using its infrared imaging system. Once the missing person is spotted, the drone sends down an emergency kit and delivers their exact location to a rescue team on the ground.
The geography of forests is quite complex and there are lots of areas that are difficult to access. Drones are able to scan these areas quickly.
The drones also have other uses in forest management. They can take images of the forest and turn them into detailed 3D maps. They can also locate areas prone to landslides and serve as pest control agents. And with forest fires, the drones can pinpoint the location and direction of the blaze and send it to a situation room through real-time video. Drones equipped with fire extinguishers can even help put the fire out.
Drones can serve as an effective tool for managing forests and disasters.
In a recent study of tree diseases, drones help reduce the research time by 90% compared to that of humans. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
Now finally, as we like to do at this time on a Saturday evening, we're going to take a brief look at the weather. And most of the country is under partly to mostly cloudy skies this evening. It will be a fairly mild night. The low is only going to dip to 15 degrees Celsius here in Seoul. Sunday will be cooler than today and cloudy with some isolated showers nationwide in the afternoon. With that, let's take a look at the weather in Korea and around the world. Well, that's all we have for now. Do enjoy the rest of your Saturday, wherever you're watching us, and stay tuned to Arirang TV. We'll be back with our next newscast that's coming up at 10 p.m. Korea time. So until then, goodbye.